The former NFL player Steve Smith Sr. is being sued in North Carolina under the state's home record law.
Hey, yo, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you been fucking my wife, bro.
Woo! They said no fury like a woman scorned, but this a man right here. This man going deep. This man going deep on his ex-wife or his wife currently. Golly, my guy, you gonna make that woman? You gonna mess up her bag, my guy? Y'all, this gotta be the funniest shit I seen in a long ass. Bro, this fool Steve Smith is crazy. Like, it's not funny, but it's funny. This guy's getting sued for sleeping with another man's wife, right? And he's getting sued under the home record law. This law is crazy. It makes zero fucking sense. But yeah, let's get into it.
Hi, I'm attorney Princess, a divorce and family law lawyer in Memphis, Tennessee, and I want to talk a little bit about a story that just broke. The former NFL player Steve Smith Sr. is being sued in North Carolina under the state's home record law. So now, how do we get here? We get here because a gentleman by the name of...
And really quick, just so we're all clear, so the home record law it is what it sounds like. It's pretty much a law that was put in place where you can sue like if you're married, you can sue the lover of your, spouse, the side piece of your spouse. And they call it physical alienation or something like that, which is crazy. It's crazy because when you think about it, it functions on the premise that you are entitled to your partner's body, attention, time, or whatever. So the way that I look at the law is they're basically saying if anybody disrupts that, then you can hold them accountable. Not the person who the consenting adult in the relationship, your spouse, not them. We need to deter the person that is cheating with the spouse as if they owe you any loyalty and as if your spouse owes you their bodies, their attention, their time, so on and so forth. So the law in and of itself is crazy. It makes zero sense to me on that basis alone, but here we are.
Mr. Martinez has went out on social media and blasted Steve and Mrs. Martinez for having an alleged affair. He's posted...
You guys want to see?
Hey, yo, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you been fucking my wife, bro. What you gotta say for yourself?
I'm sorry.
You're sorry?
For having an alleged affair. He's posted text messages and different things between Steve and Ms. Martinez saying, talking about their meetups and, different things that they've been doing with each other. So Mr. Martinez is like, hey, not only am I going to blast you all, I'm going to sue Steve because North Carolina says, hey, you can. So in North Carolina, as well as about 5 other states, you can sue under those states' home record or alienation of affection law. Now, some of you all may remember several years ago that singer Fantasia was sued by her boyfriend's wife under the alienation of affection law. So in these states, you can go after the person that your spouse has had an extramarital relationship with for civil damages to get money. To say, you've caused me pain and suffering. You've caused all of these different things to happen, including the breakdown of my marriage, and you should have to pay for it. Now,
imagine like a job, like 2 companies, like let's say I work for Coke and Pepsi reaches out to me and then I leave Pepsi, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, or I'm working for Pepsi and then, I start working a second job. And then my first job starts falling off. Like I start kind of not being able to handle both jobs. And then them finding out that I'm working a second job at like fucking Chipotle or some shit. And then they sue Chipotle. Because, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, I'm the person to blame here. I just want everybody to know, like, whoever, if you're married, the only person you have loyalty to is the person you're married to, right? Or in your family and stuff, no doubt about it. But I mean, like, legally, morally, or whatever the case may be. Well, I won't say morally, but legally, the only person that you should have loyalty to should be your spouse, your significant other. Morally, yes, it's wrong. You find out somebody is in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? And, like you should probably not be with them morally, right? Because you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. So I can respect that. But short of that, You know, like what the fuck? This is not something that should ever be written into law. This is some right-wing crazy shit.
Now, again, only about 6 states still have this type of law on their books. So, for example, what could happen in North Carolina, which would be quite interesting, is that Steve is also married. He's been married for about 24 years and has 4 kids with his wife. So his wife could sue Miss Martinez under the home record alienation of affection law. So we could have competing lawsuits where Mr. Martinez is suing Steve, and Steve
got more money. So if Steve really wanted to be in, but he don't want to do that to his wife. That would also fuck up his career, his professional career. This is also going to probably, his professional career is going to take a hit because of this. And it just goes to show you how men will sacrifice everything. They'll sacrifice everything just to fuck another woman. Like at the end of the day, that's all this is. I bet you if you ask Steve Smith, he ain't leaving his wife. He been with his wife for 24 years. He done cheated on her many a times, I'm sure. This is not the first time. And it ain't going to be the last time probably if they stay together. But he's willing to ruin his whole career for some new Virginia. You got a woman at home. Like, what the fuck is wrong? This shit is crazy. That's why I hate so much when men do that dumbass, like, oh, women will sacrifice their families for their personal thing, but men will sacrifice their personal life for their families, or their work professional life for their family, whatever the fuck they say. That dumbass shit. They be trying to act like women be out here like running amok in the streets. The woman also, right? The woman also now, she has less to lose because her job, well, she did work for Baltimore. I don't know. Her career could also be on the line too. So they're both dumb in that respect. Don't get me wrong. They're both dumb in that respect. But Steve Smith has more to lose because he makes significantly more money, right? So yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I think this is just another example of how men just only think with their dicks.
His wife is suing Mrs. Martinez. So this is a new filing. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. If there's, like I said, a counter or a not counter lawsuit, but a lawsuit by Mrs. Smith towards Mrs. Martinez, if one of the couples are going to go forward with a divorce. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. Now, I want to talk about what if these parties were here in Tennessee, what their options would be. So in Tennessee, there is no home record or alienation of affection law available.
Thank God.
But if these parties file for divorce, there are some avenues for them. So for example, let's talk about the Smiths. So if Miss Smith filed for divorce, let's say she found out that Steve was giving Miss Martinez money, he was funding trips, he was buying gifts, all of these things, she could argue dissipation of the marital estate. So she could say Steve has squandered our money, or money that would be available when it came to dividing up our assets, on this other person.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That's a good law. Because you're suing. Well, you shouldn't be able to sue the woman. Is she saying you should be able to sue the woman? You should be able to sue Steve Smith, not the woman. That's crazy. Hold on. Or the other person. Let me see.
That money should be added back in for the purposes of division. So that's one avenue that she has. Of course, she could also be granted a divorce on the grounds of adultery. But one option that would not be available to Ms. Smith is pursuing spousal support solely on fault grounds. So in Tennessee, alimony is not punitive. And what I mean by that is you don't pay alimony because you've wronged the other side. Alimony is for the benefit of the financially disadvantaged spouse. So the person seeking alimony has to be able to prove that they have a need for it and the other party has an ability to pay. Not that they're entitled to it because, like I said, there's been an affair or there's been a breakdown of the marriage.
And that would also explain why so few people actually pay alimony because, considering the fact that most women work, So after a divorce, if you guys are roughly making the same amount of money, like you could take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what the courts are thinking. Like, you could take care of yourself. Like, you're not entitled to his money. I don't care if he cheated. Or you could take care of yourself, sir. You're not entitled to her money. I don't care if she cheated. I actually respect that about that law.
That does not matter when it comes to awarding spousal support. Now, in the alternative, or on the flip side of that, let's take the Martinezes. So let's say the Martinezes were here in Tennessee and they filed for divorce. And Mrs. Martinez was asking for spousal support from Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez would have a defense potentially against spousal support set on the grounds of fault. So fault can get spousal support denied to you. Now, it's not an absolute barrier, but the court will consider it when determining if spousal support should be awarded. So that may be a defense that Mr. Martinez would have if Ms. Martinez was bold enough.
I'm sure Miss Martinez makes more money than him. She works for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm pretty sure. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he does, but my guess is she makes more money than him.
To, extra spousal support after it had come out that she's been having this extramarital relationship. So this is a pretty unique and juicy story happening.
First of all, I just want, again, I think that law is completely ridiculous. I think it's laughable that it even exists. But it shows so many things about how men, because a man, that's a law that men created. But it just shows so many things about how men don't really understand relationship dynamics. To me, it's like you're not holding the right people accountable. You know what I'm saying? Some people may disagree with this, I'm sure, and I will respect that. Please put it in the comments. I'm open to hearing the pushback or the feedback or whatever. There's an open place for everybody. I know some people be crashing down the comments when they see me say something that they disagree with, but I'm going to say things you disagree with from time to time, but I welcome the back and forth. Anyways, I just think that it's you're not actually putting the onus or the responsibility on the party that actually wronged, the person in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like me as the spouse, if I got wronged by my wife, nobody else is responsible for that. Unless they grape my wife or something like that, then fine, obviously. But yeah, I don't blame a man. I don't care if a man knew that my wife was married. That's irrelevant to me. It could be my brother. It could be my cousin. My wife still had to choose to sleep with that man. Again, unless he took it from her, right? Unless he raped her, then how can I blame him? You see what I'm saying? I think that's weird. I think that's just the odd way of approaching the situation. So no, I don't like the law, and I think it just passes the buck. And it also, like I said, it paints this picture that our bodies belong to our partners, and they don't. But that boy, Mr. Martinez, was hot, y'all. He came in hot as hell. This was Mr. Martinez when he called up Steve Smith.
Hey, yo, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you've been fucking my wife, bro. What you gotta say for yourself?
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? You fucking knew she was married.
You fucking knew.
You're not a fucking idiot, man. You're fucking Steve Smith Sr.
Damn, he put the senior on his. This boy was kind of respectful. I ain't gonna even lie. I'd have been going ham. I'd have been turned up to the 10th. It's up there and it's stuck.
What kind of dumb shit was that? Why are you quiet, man? Be a fucking man.
Damn. The silence.
Steve. Hey, yo, Steve. You ain't a fucking man, bro. All that shit you do on fucking TV, all that shit talking you do to other people. Now someone's got you on the fucking phone, you can't even fucking man up.
Hey. I'm sure Steve Smith was fighting demons in that moment, because Steve Smith is off his rocker too. He crazy. But he wasn't dumb. He didn't. That's another lawsuit waiting to happen. What he gonna do? Pull up on this man? That's double homicide at that point. A nigga smash your wife and come to your house and beat you up, Mr. Martinez, because that's what you was angling for. You was angling to get your ass beat after he beat up your wife, vagina. So nah, Mr. Martinez would have had a lawsuit against him for battery, and would have had the lawsuit against him for the homewrecker shit. So you'd have been getting some cheese, and Steve Smith would have been fired. And I'm sure that was all going through Steve Smith's head when he was playing this all out. But I don't blame him. I don't blame Martinez for calling this man. I think that was, like I said, like I call him motherfucker. But in all honesty, though, like I said, for me, when it comes to cheating, I'm always gonna be focused on the person that, you know, like my wife, my girl. You know what I'm saying? Like not the other motherfucker. Not to say I'm not gonna be mad or whatever the case may be. I'm gonna have some emotions. I'm gonna have some feelings. But if it ain't somebody like close to me, in all honesty, hey man, as long as you don't try to come in and step between us on some like, hey homie, she said she don't want, like now we got a problem. But if you like, hey, respectfully, you know, she a grown woman, she can make her choices, but I'm out. Y'all gonna work it out, you know. And he did. It is what it is, partner. And now I'm focused on her. We gonna have our discussion and how the fuck did we get here and all of that stuff. But I do want to see them texts that boy sent that Steve Smith and Mrs. Martinez were sharing with each other.
You're so hot. Deep is an understatement. It felt like you were going to rearrange my IUD. You were so deep. LOL. Imagine. You going through your old lady's phone and you see that text in there to another man. Oh no. Oh my days. 2 words. Dirt and t-shirt. Cause you going on the Gildan. Hanes, Fruit of the Loom, something. Oh my.
Wait, who going on the Gildan? The woman?
Oh my God. There's no way. And if I don't smoke both y'all boots and probably my own boots as well, because I won't be able to recover mentally from the anguish, I'm not gonna tell nobody. Shh.
Wait. What? You talking about femicide? I don't like that shit. That don't sit right with me. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. We not doing that. Absolutely. Not around here, partner. So these are the text messages, or this is the part of the text message that Mr. Martinez shared. Yes, sir. Take me deep down your throat like you kind of like. You wanted to suck me off. I did. I would have gagged on it, but I had to come home. Jesus Christ. Steve Smith says, you enjoy it. You like to feel it. She said, I like feeling it deep in my wet pussy or vagina, if you will. Steve Smith said, me too. Letting you taste it, though, would be such a turn on. I would have shot my load all inside your pussy. She said, I love making you come. I enjoy it more when you come inside me. God damn. Noted. You get to feel it, he said. Jesus Christ. Now, this allegedly comes from Martinez's account, but I'm pretty sure that Mr. Martinez, her husband, posted this and he did her code. He said, I don't know why you want to ruin this woman back, though, but he said, hi, I'm Nicole Martinez, though I won't be a Martinez much longer. You see, I have been cheating on my husband, and I have been doing so with a very famous, with the very famous Steve Smith Sr. Pics attached for reference. I had him hidden under 3, but that's been fixed. My husband bought me a house. He stood by my side after I had been arrested twice for domestic violence. Jesus Christ. And this is how I repay him and our son. There's plenty of messages here, Steve. Crazy the kind of revealing messages a celebrity will send. Baltimore Ravens, I am also a member of your team band. I believe I violated some fraternization rules by hooking up with Steve at the training facility. God damn. Woo! They said no fury like a woman scorned, but this a man right here. This man going deep. This man going deep on his ex-wife or his wife currently. Golly, my guy, you gonna make that woman? You gonna mess up her bag, my guy? Golly. But yeah, that's it, man. Steve Smith out here wilding. He about to get sued. It looked like ain't nothing gonna happen to him. Typical. The woman is getting more punished than the man, even though they both married. Let me know what y'all think about that law, though, because I think that law is really weird. I think that law is really, I think it's very, very strange, to say the least.